Warhammer 40k Fluff for the uninitiated.
Episode 4 Space Marine Equipment Part 1 Power Armor. While their sheer physical and mental superiority would enable a naked Space Marine to kill an average squad of Imperial Guardsmen if push came to shove, the Adeptus Custodes are also issued with the very best of Imperial equipment. Most iconic of all is their power armor. While other high-ranking Imperials such as Inquisitors and Adeptus Sororitas, also known as Sisters of Battle, may wear body armor, these armors lack many of the functions and some of the protection Astartes armor does, and their owner lacks the Astartes black carapace, which interfaces with the armor and the Marine's nervous system to form one cohesive whole, not only allowing the Marine to control the armor as he would his own body, but allowing the armor to monitor the Marine's physical condition, relay the information back to the Marine, and administer drugs as required. Power armor has a thick layer of ceramide on the outside and electrically articulated fibers of artificial muscle within, so it not only protects the wearer, but enhances his already formidable strength even further. The helmet in particular comes with a heads-up display, full communication suite, and auto sensors, which includes different vision modes and adjustable audio amplification, as well as fully automatic protection against exceedingly bright flashes or loud noises. Because suits of power armor are also fully isolated from the outside, they protect against environmental hazards, up to allowing the Marine to survive in the vacuum of deep space for a limited time. A Marine in power armor is also self-sufficient for long periods of time due to the armor's waste management systems, which recycle biological waste into a taste and odorless, but adequately nutritious paste. Do not think too hard about that one. The armor's power generator and most of the auxiliary systems are located in the backpack. Power armor was first used even before the Emperor started taking control of mankind, and consequently before the creation of the Adeptus Astartes, roughly between M25 and M28. Because at that time fighting was still taking place on Terra exclusively, these Mark I Thunder Armor pattern suits were not sealed and offered no life support. At the time there was no standard template for power armor, and individual suits varied wildly, the only common traits being an emphasis on upper body strength and protection. Starting with the Mark II Crusade armor pattern suits, power armor started being designed with Space Marines and consequently space combat in mind. Most of the systems taken for granted in modern power armor were first introduced in this pattern created in the factories of Mars. Mark III Iron Armor pattern armor was never intended to replace the Mark II suits, but rather to serve as a specialist role for combat on battlefields where cover was rare and maximum front protection was vital. Due to its martial appearance, even by power armor standards, it is still sometimes worn in ceremonial garb. Mark IV Imperial Maximus suit pattern armor was then built to replace the Mark II suits and was improved in just about every way due to new materials and technology resulting from the Great Crusade. This mark was distributed extensively and is still used in some chapters to this day. When the Horus Heresy broke out, deployment of the Mark IV armor was still incomplete, and a great number of them were in traitor hands, while some of the Loyalist legions still employed great numbers of Mark II suits, which were showing their age. With the war effort making the mass construction and deployment of Mark IV suits unfeasible, Tech Marines began breathing new life into the old suits by bolting layers of armor onto each other to improve stability and durability, as well as protection. This pattern was called Mark V Heresy armor. To replace the Mark IV pattern, the Mark VI Corvus armor with its characteristic beak was produced, incorporating features of old and new patterns. When the development of Mark VI pattern armor was eventually complete near the end of the Horus Heresy, it had been advanced so significantly that it was considered a different design and labeled Mark VII Aquila armor. It is now, 10,000 years later, the most common pattern still in use. For the first time since Mark II, these suits were mostly built not on Mars but on Terra, because the Imperium realized it could not hold Mars against the traitor legions. For the first time, this pattern hid the chest and arm cabling behind a protective cover, with a design of an Imperial eagle, the Aquila, on it, giving this pattern its name. From a technological point of view, Mark VII armor is so similar to Mark VI that parts from each are easily interchangeable with one another. The latest of the official armor patterns is Mark VIII Errant armor, which now encloses all of the armor's cabling and protects the neck joint with an armored collar, due to which this pattern is not backwards compatible with other helmets. Besides these, there exists another style of power armor, which is to power armor what power armor is to a leather jacket, the Terminator armor. Terminator armor includes all the features found in standard power armor, but adds plasteel plating on top of the ceramide, adding enough protection to shield the wearer against a crack missile. Crack missiles are used to penetrate bunkers. Due to the added bulk over power armor, Terminators are less maneuverable than ordinary Space Marines, which matters little in those situations where Terminators are usually deployed, enclosed spaces such as boarding actions, in tunnels, or on space hulks. Thanks to a feature of this armor called the Sensorium, Terminators not only have a 360-degree field of vision, motion sensors, and threat detectors, the squad members can also link their Sensoriums to share sensory input, giving Terminators unprecedented battlefield awareness. Adaptive surgery is required to install the tendril sensors needed for the Marine to interpret this data. Unfortunately, the expense of building and maintaining Terminator armor, along with their scarcity, makes them an exceedingly rare sight on the battlefield, and only the most elite veterans will be entrusted with one. When being able to walk unscathed through a hail of autofire cannon and breaking through ferrocrete walls is not enough, Terminators also have specialized weaponry. Terminator suits usually have an integrated Stormbolter and Power Fist, though heavy weapons will be given to fire support units, and melee squads will carry power weapons and storm shields. All of these will be explained in the next episode.